up, Dokkanners? Welcome back to Dunrami for another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. Today's video is a special discussion video. You probably might have heard there's a lot of stuff going on in Dokkan right now. There's something in particular that a lot of people still don't quite understand, myself included, obviously. So to better help me understand what's going on, I have brought my buddy Hydros, who is here on the channel for the first time. Say hello, Hydros.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Hydros, and how you guys doing? It's kind of weird to alternate my intro when I'm a guest.
It's also going to be difficult to imitate that 100-mile-an-hour speech pattern that you have there. What is going on, everybody? Never mind. We'll do that later. So Hydros,
I've purposely tried to slow that down.
just so that I could comprehend it.
Yes.
So you guys are looking at his Twitter right now, so make sure you follow him on Twitter. Here's his YouTube. Check him out. He is one of the geniuses behind all those data mines, all the assets that flows into Dokkan, all that good stuff that you see flowing around Twitter. It's all thanks to people like Hydros. So major shout out to Hydros, and thank you so much for being here to help me understand what the heck is going on with partner super attacks. So we're basically going to be doing like a Q&A where he's the expert, I'm the dummy. So where to begin? Hydros, let's just start off right off the bat. What is this, and why is it so difficult for people to process what's going on? Why is it such a developing story? Why is it not as simple like, hey, this is what it is, let's check it out?
Well, for right now, there's nothing visually within the game to let us know, hey, this is how this is going to work. This is like, you know how you have an active skill, like there's an animation for that. There's an active skill animation for how you activate it, for how it looks in the game when you activate it. There's nothing in the game whatsoever in the assets that tells us what it looks like or shows us what it's going to look like. All we're going basis off of is the code within the game, just saying, hey, this is what the game is telling us that we're probably going to do and how it's probably going to work. So we're kind of guessing with all the asset stuff and just going solely based off the code and how it's supposed to look and what each code does.
Is this normal protocol for Dokkan to be implementing something new like this? Because usually people are able to very quickly put together and kind of figure out what's going on, and then we're able to kind of process the information and disseminate it throughout Twitter or wherever. This one, it seems like it's very different because, yeah, like you said, like there's just so much code to go through, and you guys are just constantly trying to like put the pieces together. Has this ever happened before in Dokkan?
Well, whenever Dokkan adds new mechanics, before the mechanic releases, if I'm remembering correctly with active skills at least, the active skill functions and everything like that were added into the game prior to any assets being added. And that's how some of us were able to decipher how active skills were somewhat going to work. Then once they implemented the assets via a data download, we then had a very better understanding on how it worked. But in terms of something like active skills, we couldn't know how it was working. We kind of had to just guess and check, because within the database of the game, which is a different part of the game compared to where functions are. The functions is basically like the internal workings of the game, while the database is just all the information that's stored relatively to like where cards are, how the cards work, how their supers work, modifier damage, and all that sort of stuff. So with active skills, they implemented all of the tables within the database, but there was no data in the tables whatsoever, so we had to kind of guess what went where. And for active skills, they had some tables there, but not all of them were there. So once active skills actually came to the game, they added in tables to which we didn't even have before. So partner supers, we do have some idea because they've added some new things to the database. Like there are some things called styles now, which was never there before. And styles they've been using to say like a 12 key is a normal, 18 key is a hyper now, and active skills are referred to as ultimates. And then there's another style called a conditional, which is kind of it's kind of tied into where the functions are. Kind of looking at this conditional part is like the conditional style is kind of tying into the partner super stuff via the functions and how we're looking at it. So, you know, once we get an idea of how the database works, and if they do have to add more things into it, once they do that, we'll have a way better understanding of how everything works. So right now we're kind of guessing and checking and kind of using database in a way where we're using the super attack portions of it and kind of just implementing it through that, especially with like animations and everything like that. So
Yeah, so what you're looking at right now, guys, is footage from the game with some custom animations, some custom effects implemented by Hydros on his video, as well as Markkinen, another data miner. So
oh,
shout out
I
to
didn't implement any of the animations. I was
that was all
literally like
Markkinen.
a test. Yeah, Marks is the one that was doing all the LWF animation work and all that stuff,
Okay, so this is
adding
all
it
credit
into
to
the
Markkinen
game.
then. Yeah. So
Yes,
this is
I was testing it for him and also providing logs and seeing if something was crashing, if something was not being if something was not working or something, like if there was an asset that was there but it wasn't actually being used, or if it needed an asset to be used. That's what basically I was doing, was loading the game using his stuff and then logging and seeing how it was determining what was being used.
So, from what you have seen and figured out so far, does this seem like a worthwhile addition to the game at this current juncture? This whole partner super mechanic, it kind of seems, just I don't know, maybe from layman's perspective, it seems out of left field, kind of unnecessary for right now because Global hasn't even had a chance to breathe with the new link level meta. So this seems like, I mean, I don't even know if this is going to be a global thing. This is probably going to be a JP thing first. But what do you think about this overall? Like, does this seem like this is a good step for Dokkan in general?
Well, in terms of having global being able to breathe, the link level stuff, it, the new partner stuff, I would say, is a more celebration worthy mechanic. Link levels are kind of, here's a new thing, to grind. It's not a celebration worthy kind of thing. It's just a new little thing for people to grind. Like, it's not, it is good that they did link levels, and it's a good upgrade to a lot of other links that definitely needed an upgrade, legendary power being one. But you know, it's not, I don't feel like link levels would be a celebration worthy, especially for 350 million download, because within 4.11.1 or 4.11.0 when JP first got it, there's kind of just using 4.11.1 as the basis now for global, to catch the two versions up, because within JP and global there's something called joint campaigns, which added new things, added new assets, added new functions and stuff like that for a joint campaign, which we kind of feel like that kind of signifies, okay, this is for when global and JP have a together celebration, because joint campaign, that kind of sums it up in itself, right? So that's what that's for. And because when JP got the 4.11 point update, it added the link levels, but it also added partner supers. It added both of them to the game. And I feel like people were unaware at the time. Like, people were focused so much on the link levels, but weren't kind of like, we were also saying, here's some partner super stuff. Like, we found this. And, or T6 Thieving 6 was the one that was doing it at the time, finding the functions whenever the APK or the Android from the Play Store released, and he was able to grab it. So he was posting the functions, and we were reiterating on Twitter all the functions and stuff like that were being changed, added, and all that sort of stuff. So, partner supers, I feel with all this joint campaign, partner supers does feel like it would be a 350 million celebration. Whether or not it's going to be as super complicated as we think, or whether it's going to be super simple, I don't know. I mean, for partner supers, usually for something like an active skill and stuff like that, it released kind of like a basic one, how B-Pans was kind of like, it's like a activation of a passive, getting allies attack up and all that sort of stuff for B-Pen. So for the partner supers, it could be as simple as have a Vegeta on rotation with a Goku, and that'll be it. But there's way more that they can do with it.
Yeah, this
and
seems like. No, sorry.
In
Continue.
terms of how the exchange unit, a mechanic that barely comes back a lot. How that is in the game. Exchange is literally a glorified transformation mechanic. That's all it really is. I hate to break it, but that's literally all an exchange unit is. And all partner supers is like a glorified super active skill, in a sense. But we don't know if it's activated manually or if it's automatically activated. Through testing so far, there's nothing to signify that it's manually activated, but there could be stuff missing that they've just not put in, so they may add it later. So this may or may not be a 350 million download thing, may or may not, because there may be stuff missing and they'll add it later when it does actually come. So, again, take everything with a grain of salt. But it does seem like a mechanic worthy of a 350 million download celebration, because it's a gimmick, and will get people interested.
You might have already alluded to this, but I'm just going to go ahead and ask this. Over time, does this seem like a pretty, I don't know what the right phrase is, a data heavy or kind of a pretty taxing update that would require a lot more from Dokkan just in the future going forward? Because with partner supers, you're going to start looking at combinations, certain characters that correlate. If they don't necessarily have these two characters that correlate in the first rollout, if they do decide to like implement more and more in the future, could this potentially become a pretty heavy, sizable data upload for future, content for partner supers and all that?
Dokkan's already at the point of where even their super animations can linger for a second. If like LR Goku, like his super attack is massive in the assets. Like it's, I think, so many style sheets big that when it launches his ultimate super, it hangs for like a split second. So Dokkan is kind of already to that point. They could tweak the game to maybe hopefully fix that in the future. With partner supers, with a partner super, it's literally like, if you're in Legends and you're doing an LF or a legendary finish or a dramatic finish in Dragon Ball Z Fighters, or Fighter Z, however people say it. It's something. It would be something like that to a sense for a partner super. Like if you have a certain partner unit on the team, and this character has it, it's going to activate, and it's going to activate a different super attack than it would normally do, or a special animation. So partner supers are also. It doesn't have to be considered partner. It doesn't have to be a person on rotation on your team. Partner supers can also be, hey, you're facing a certain enemy. Here's a special animation for that too, like I said, an LF or a dramatic finish in regards to that, or a partner super being like how Buchigiri did their fusion mechanic, like with Gogeta and Gotenks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They had a summonable card, and then you could use any other card like of a Trunks or Gotenks if you pulled one of the others. So it's a weird thing also when you get into the gacha law that people are probably like, oh, they're going to make both units summonable probably. People probably think that, and it's like, no, only one of them can actually be summonable. And the way they get around that is having a free-to-play unit in the game that can activate that partner ability within the game. And if there's not a partner free-to-play version in the game, then you can probably expect one to release with it.
This seems like such a meta boosting mechanic, but I'm honestly really excited to just see like what combinations they start with. Maybe things like it could probably lead to. Would you say this could potentially lead to combinations that maybe we haven't necessarily seen in summonable cards yet? Like, well, I was gonna say Vegeta Nappa, but we just got them. But like, if Vegeta Nappa wasn't a thing, and then this partner super thing rolled out, do you think that would be like another way to kind of bring certain combinations or certain types of content into the game without necessarily bringing them into the game via summonable units?
Yeah, I definitely think so. You know how we on JP they got LR SSB Goku and SSB Vegeta, right?
Yeah.
That's
perfect
that's a unit
example.
that's a unit probably everyone wanted. And that actually could have been a partner card.
Exactly.
But I've said this on Twitter many times that I would like a SSB Goku and SSB Vegeta duo card from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie when they launched their attack together. That's that scene where they're together.
Absolutely.
They're doing their attack.
Yeah.
That would be a perfect partner super animation to do. Now, as I was saying, it can be enemy based or it can be partner based, or it also can actually be both. Like you can have a partner and facing a certain enemy. So that Vegeta one, I'm imagining they do partner Vegeta with a Goku. They're doing that move from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie versus a Broly character. That would be pretty cool.
Can you imagine enemy units pulling off partner supers during Super Battle Road or Extreme Super Battle Road? That would be
even the enemies could potentially have it. That'd be kind of interesting as well. With these partner supers as well, there's also functions within the game, and through testing you can see it in my videos and Mark's videos, that when you're looking at the super attack, when you pull up a card and you can actually like hit the button to like view the super attack information.
Yeah.
There's a new spot that's, I believe, for conditions, which it's usually most of the time it's in a passive or it's in the information regarding like the super attack. So if a character has like a 12 key and it's not an LR, besides maybe they'll do LRs with it too in the future, but that super attack little info screen, I believe can also be scrollable. So if it's something like an LR, they have the 12 key 18, and you can scroll down and see the next special attack being a partner super or whatever they're going to call it. And they'll have that certain condition location to say, hey, you're going to need this certain unit. And then also they have conditions like, you know, the attack can maybe stun a character. The attack could lower attack and defense or something like that. You know, it can also be something like a condition to where it can do status effects and all that sort of jazz.
This would add a whole new dimension to Dokkan, and yeah, absolutely, man. This
I mean, Link level's already added a new dimension, grindy level of Dokkan.
no, but I mean this one truly does, because this
yeah.
changes the way you look at an attack layout. Like when you got your 3 units, it's not a simple plug away, you know, 3 attacks. It's now you really got to think strategically. This could totally. I mean, they already reinvented the game just by adding the whole Link level thing, that RPG element, that extra level of effort that you got to put into like max out units. Now with this, this is a huge thing. I mean, it's still beyond a lot of people's understanding, but I'm actually very much looking forward to this, especially, you know, having friends like you to help dumb it down for people like me. I very much appreciate that.
Like, this is my thought to this, because this isn't something we've achieved through testing, but if you look at our videos, the partner super is automatically activated, and I believe that it's been thrown around that it's a manual activation. Whether or not that's true, we don't know. We've not actually gotten it to work as a manual activation, unless it's determined within the animation file itself. I don't think it usually is. I think I can't remember, but if it is a manual activation, that one probably be added later. So it could most likely be an automatic activation. So far from what we've tested, again, take it with a grain of salt. It's not 100%, but it's a decent indication, I would say, at least. Obviously the animations that we've shown are way worse than what Dokkan would obviously do. They would be way better looking. But you know, my understanding, if it is a manual activation, right? Look at active skills. Active skills, you can activate your active before you grab key. And so far through testing, after we, you know, if you've seen it, when the Goku unit grabs the keys path and his super attack meter goes all the way up, you see that the little animations that we put into the game activate after getting key, right?
Yeah.
And it made it, you know, Mark kind of made it look like, you know, it's around the character like an active skill kind of looks.
Yeah.
Almost. My thought is, if it is a manual activation, it's a manual activation after you get key, so it's the opposite of an active skill. So you have your 12 key, or you have your key meter being filled, and you can either choose to be, okay, I'm going to do a regular super attack with this unit super attack, or I'm going to activate the partner super and go for the big bucks, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at that right now.
That's kind of my thought about it. If it is a manual activation, that's kind of how I'd imagine they'll do it. It could be way different for all I know, but that would be a pretty, you know, simple, I guess, or an alternate version to an active skill kind of activation in a sense.
If you had to guess, do you think that the 350 would be the right time to releases, or do you think it would have to be something maybe towards the tail end or at the start of the next celebration that we get this introduced?
I feel like this is a 350 million download celebration worthy kind of thing. Whether or not some of the stuff that we found does come with it is unknown. So a lot of this stuff could be implemented way later. And I know that, you know, Dokkan has said that I believe he's mentioned, he said that it was a pretty simplistic thing that's going to be coming, right? So, but obviously we can see within the game that it can be more complex than what he said it could be. And whether or not on release that it is that complex is probably unlikely. So on release, it could be as simple as Dokkan has put it. Like, it's just a simple, have this, you know, Gohan on rotation, and that's it. That's literally all it could be. But the mechanic itself, I do believe it is a 350 million download celebration worthy kind of mechanic.
I agree.
But that's not saying that it is coming. So don't get like 100% hopes up like, oh my god, I can't wait for this. This is gonna happen. No. You know, take it with a grain of salt, like everything everything that we post that we find before something comes out. Always take it with a grain of salt. It can always be changed. It can always be different than what we expect. So, but again, we like I said, we have a decent indication on what it can be. So that's what we've basically been doing, is trying to just see if we can get an understanding of what this is going to look like.
And that is why it pays to have buddies like Hydros to explain things like this to me and all of you about what is going on, because I was completely lost. Now, thanks to him, I have a little bit more of an understanding about what's happening. Hydros, thank you so much for being here, man. You guys can follow him on Twitter, Hydros, at Hydros Plays. You can also check him out on YouTube. He also has a YouTube channel, 40,000 plus, not 40 plus thousand. 40,000 plus subscribers, so check him out there. Hydros, thank you so much once again. Is there anything else that we should be aware about before we kind of end this discussion for now, before more information rolls in?
I don't believe so. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt. This is a pretty decent mechanic that they've considered adding to the game. So
when it happens,
like I said,
it happens.
When it happens, it happens. Yes, and
until
also,
then, we got plenty
it's a
of
pretty
other stuff
decent
to worry
mechanic.
about. Yeah. So that is going to wrap this up.
I do want to say that don't expect this to be added to old characters. It's probably going to be only new characters and on.
Oh, for real?
Now, yes, it's not going to be something. It's not going to be like, oh, we're going to go back and add this to a lot of old characters.
Dang
like
it.
in terms of who can get partner supers. Not saying that like you can't use an old Vegeta unit to be a partner to a partner super card. Like you can use the old units as partners.
Okay. Yeah.
But ones that get the ability to have these,
I got you.
will most likely 99% be new cards. Maybe easy A's. I doubt it, but maybe easy A's. There's a little hope, but I doubt it.
That's an important
like
detail,
I said,
yeah.
the super dialogue has a conditional box now. Whether they maybe implement easy A's now to have a condition box in their supers, that could be a thing potentially as well. But in terms of partners, easy A's, it's unlikely, but it's likely at the same time if easy A's get it. But it's 99% going to be new units that get this new mechanic on their card.
That was part of the reason why I was actually kind of thinking that this might be a pretty taxing update as far as like people on older devices or older OSs, just because I thought, based on the footage, which again, you really have to take with a grain of salt, that it was going to be implementing this across all units. So like if certain units, whether they're old or new, are compatible with the new ones or old ones, then it would trigger or catalyze something. But yeah, that's an important detail to know. This is probably only going to be happening for the newer units, but the older ones, if anything, will be like those little catalysts to trigger the supers, the partner supers.
Yeah, it most likely, like I said, 99% sure that it's not going to be for older units, unfortunately. So I know people are probably like looking forward to like some old units getting something like this, but it's not looking like that's going to be the case. It's going to be like a new unit. And if it is, like I said, the 350 million download, if it is going to be Boo Saga, I know people are probably expecting Vegito. I really don't want Vegito in my opinion.
God, let's not. Yeah, I don't want Vegito either.
But anyway, no, I'm saying like a good start for this, if they want to do something like this to start off with, is, like I said, it can be based on an enemy or it can be based on having a partner or both. If they do start it out like this, and if it is Boo Saga, have it to where maybe it's an SS3 Goku LR with a Kid Buu LR. We have no Buu LR, so that'd be a pretty cool enemy-based partner super to kind of throw at us at first glance.
Agreed. All right, so once again, thank you so much, Hydros, for being here. Follow him on Twitter. Check out his YouTube. Subscribe, follow, do all the good stuff. And thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, and always remember to Dokkan responsibly. Bye-bye, my name is Hydros.